There is, however, a way to make those variables, the limits, the scope limits of those variables, sort of transparent, so that what happens in the function can happen outside the function as well, as far as variable scope. And that is the global keyword. Okay. I will caution you that 99.9% of the time, you should never use global. If I start seeing global show up in every one of your functions from now moving forward, I will call you on it, because that's a really bad practice. You really want your functions to be a black box where you give them something and they give something back. And the minute you put global inside a function, you have tied your function to the rest of your program in a way that it's only going to work properly in a certain context. You've destroyed that whole black box, or the reusability of that function. I should be able to take a function and move it from one program to another and reuse it without having to make modifications. The minute I use global, I've tied that function to the outside world. There are some times when global is useful and I'm not going to say necessary, but it is very useful. It makes life a lot easier sometimes. And the way it works is I'm just going to say global X. Okay, and global X basically means that anytime this variable appears in the function, I'm referring to the same one outside the function, the global X. So now, if I run this, you'll see that when the function runs, since it's referring to the global X, the function actually changes the value of X in my main code. That can be useful, but it's also really, really risky. Again, it's never smart to name a variable inside your function the same as an outside. What you'll notice here is that if I don't define this variable, what you'll see is this one gets highlighted, this one doesn't. And the reason for that is that Python, and notice it's not a red underlined. What we're saying here is that it might not be defined. And if I run this right now, the way it is with this line of code commented out, it will in fact give me an error on line 7, which is this one. If I comment out line 7, this gets highlighted, but watch what happens. It will actually work, because what happens is I'm using show variables here, which declares a global X, sets it to 33, prints it out, and then it comes back here, and now the global X is set to 33. So using global allows you to change an outside variable from inside of a function, or to access that in a bidirectional way. It's not a good idea. Most of the time, instead of using global, you want to use parameters and return values to get information in and out of a function. That's the safer way to do it. That maintains the integrity of that black box, where the function just does what the function does without interacting directly with the external program. And that's a clean, well-built function.